So does our weather down here affect radio? And the answer is sometimes. Because you got to remember, light reflects off of rain, right? That's how we get rainbows and things like that. There's also some other effects of where it focuses down like a magnifying glass to a point. Obviously, rain doesn't stick around long enough to actually burn anything, but it has these kind of properties as it is with light. Radio waves are just light. That's all it is. It's just light. Invisible light that we cannot see. It is not in the visible spectrum, so we can't see it. But that is what radio is. So, yes, heavy rain can affect rain signals. Heavy rain can affect radio signals to some degree. Especially kind of the VHF, UHF area. But also, it does not affect it heavily enough where typically you are going to have to do a different mode of communication. I seem to recall, if it's heavy enough, I should have researched this, but this is a spur of the moment recording. I seem to recall that rain seems to affect VHF more than UHF, but for some reason I think that's backwards. But anyway, the bigger point is, yes, it can, but typically not anything noticeable. I mean, I've been in some storm chasing in some very heavy rain, and talking on the radio the whole time, coordinating whatever it is that we're doing at the time, while listening to weather updates from another repeater through the weather radio linked up to that, sending out storm warnings, things like that. So it doesn't necessarily affect it to normal or beyond unusable level. But now let's talk about HF. And let me one step back. I'm sure at even higher frequencies there's more of an impact, but I don't have experience with that to be able to talk about it. You'll probably figure that out fairly quickly if you're using higher levels like 800 megahertz maybe, or even into the gigahertz and beyond. But now on HF side, I have not noticed issues. And I've been on HF at least 80 meters in heavy rain, in heavy snow, because what else is there to do when there's a blizzard? You get on the radio, right? None of that stuff seems to really affect those at all. But you also need to remember the radio waves are, at 80 meters, one full wavelength is going to be 200 and some feet long just for one wave. 10 meters is going to be, 10 meters long, technically. 80 meters long, 10 meters long. So they are less, they have less problems with that because they're less affected by weather because of just how big the wavelength is. But in theory, a strong enough storm potentially could affect it to some degree. But also remember, what are we using when we are in hurricanes? We're using HF, we're using local communications. All this stuff continues to work through a hurricane, which kind of throws the gambit of weather at you, right? It's a huge storm and lots of rain, and people still use it. So, so the short answer that I probably should have said 5 minutes ago is not really. But ultimately, yes, there is some effect. You may have to switch up frequencies. You may have to switch bands once in a while. Sorry, but in the end, it all works. So, 7-3.